Hey Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and today I've got my long-term review of the Prime Inline 3. This bow has an axle-to-axle length of 33 inches, a brace height of 6.5 inches, and a rated speed of 337 feet per second. Now the first thing to me that stands out on this bow, and probably to you if you're familiar with Prime at all, is the cam system. There's no more of that kind of double cam setup we've seen with Prime over the years. That was always designed to kind of help with stability and cam lean and all that. They've done away with that with this new inline cam system. It's also simplified the strings and cables. There's no more 7-piece setup of string and cables. This is a traditional 3-piece setup, very easy to replace, and so it's not, it makes life a little bit easier, but you do lose that double cam setup. There are some benefits according to Prime with that, at least. They're calling this the most kind of balanced draw cycle you can do, at least according to Prime engineers. And basically, the heavy load cable, as you draw the bow, it moves in towards the middle of the bow and ends up right kind of like the same width as the string, like right behind the string setup. So that's supposed to make it as well balanced as you can be. I'm not an engineer. You'll have to look at the videos on Prime's YouTube channel to get a little more insight into exactly what that means. But overall, I mean, the bow shoots great, so I guess it worked well. So you'll check with those videos for yourself to see what you think. This bow also retains that Nano grip technology that Prime introduced a year ago with that NASA engineered aerogel inside. And what basically this means is that when you're holding this bow on a cold day, the longer you hold it, the warmer it's going to get in the grip section, in the grip. So that's a nice feeling. And it doesn't also get very hot either on a hot day. So it's designed to kind of reduce major temperature fluctuations with that aerogel kind of keeping things as level as they can. Now let's get to the review portion of this video, and we're going to start with draw cycle, and that is an area where the Inline 3 absolutely shines. I don't know if I've ever shot a Prime that was that smooth and linear of a draw. There's no dip into the valley. It's just a nice smooth pull right into the wall. That's really what I'm looking for out of a bow. It might not be the easiest bow to draw of any I tested this year. I think the Elite, which I'll talk about in another video, was probably a slightly easier draw, but this is just completely dead smooth, and that deserves some praise of its own. Once you get to the end of the draw, you're greeted by a absolutely rock hard wall. This bow uses limb stops exclusively, which is a bit of a departure for Prime. Last year's bow was cable stops exclusively, and prior years before that, they actually gave you both limb and cable stops. But I guess with the new cam design, they can only choose one. They went with limb stops. I know a lot of people prefer that kind of a wall. It's not my favorite personally. I do like a little more give, but to those of you that like it, there it is. Another change with those draw stops for Prime is that they're not adjustable. In the past years, Prime had kind of like a rotating module there, so you can kind of fine-tune your let off and fine-tune your draw length by just moving those stops a little bit. But now the stops are positioned in there a ½ inch apart, just like most other bows on the market, and so you can't make those fine adjustments with your draw length and your let off. I have long been a fan of how Prime bows shoot as far as their accuracy and how they hold, and that is certainly no exception here. This is a 33-inch bow. It feels rock solid to me at full draw. Again, I'm going to guess if you wanted a bow to do everything for you for hunting and 3D and target, maybe the Inline 5, the 35-inch bow would be a better choice. But the 33, it's kind of a great all-around bow in its own right. It's plenty accurate. It shoots great for me, and yeah, no problems at all with Prime. Prime makes great shooting bows, and this is absolutely no exception. Once you let the arrow go, this bow does have maybe a little more vibration than some of the other ones I've tested this year. It's not obnoxious by any means. You can shoot this all day without having your hand get all sore and from all the vibration or anything like that. And it's not particularly loud. It just may be a step down from the top 1 or 2 bows I've tested this year. So that nice, smooth and easy draw cycle we talked about earlier does come with a bit of a speed penalty. I have this bow set up with 70 pounds of draw weight and 30¼ inches of draw length. And when I shot a 350 grain gold tip platinum pierce arrow, I saw speeds of 319 feet a second. And when I shot the heavier 477 grain gold tip airstrike, speeds dropped down to 278 feet a second. So that's not slow by any means. It's just, I think it ended up 4th out of the 5 bows I tested this year. But again, you're going to expect that when you've got a draw cycle like this. That's just the price of admission when it comes to a great draw. As for fit and finish, that is an area where Prime shines every year. I don't think anybody makes a better looking bow than Prime. I love the riser design. I always like the colors. The paint also always holds up incredibly well. I don't see any mars or rub marks or anything like that I get on a lot of other bows. For whatever reason, Prime bows just always end up looking great for me. And when it comes to price, That's another area this bow does quite well. This bow comes in at $1,100, which again is not inexpensive by any means, but is tied for the least expensive bows of the ones I tested this year. And when you consider that Prime gives you those free replacement strings every 2 years, that's a good bit of added value. The bottom line is you're looking for a bow that draws super smooth, that holds nice and well on target, and that looks just fantastic. Head to your local Prime dealer and test out an Inline 3.